Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to HIMediaTV. I'm your host, Em from HIMediaTV, and welcome back to HIMedia Headlines for today, June the 3rd, 2026. So we have a new God of War game on the horizon, God of War Lofi, I believe it's called. And if you're wondering who we're playing as Kratos' second wife, Faye, as she ends up, going for some reason, or ending up at least, in the realm of the dead for the gods. And so this is all a really interesting premise, because the trailer and stuff kind of confirms a couple things. One, there are even more pantheons than we initially thought. Although we did know that because of, the tier fights, in the roguelike mode, in Valhalla. The question though is, we just didn't know what it looked like, and apparently most, if not all gods, regardless of pantheon, have a very unhealthy relationship with power, it seems. Because we saw the Egyptian goddess of war, god of war. We saw I believe it was an Incan god of war, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Regardless, since we are in technically the land of the dead, and Faye is Kratos' fucking wife, I'm really curious to see what happens here, and if we're going to see, some of the Greek pantheon coming back, and some of the shenanigans, that, find out more of the shenanigans that Kratos got up to when he was in the lands of Egypt. I don't know. I feel like there's been the normal suspects. The creator of the first God of War said he doesn't like it. All the chuds are like, oh my God, we're playing as a woman. I'll be honest. I don't care. I think that the things I've seen with Faye being on screen and just her as a character, I'm excited to see more of her, especially with what Santa Monica Studios is capable of being in regards to, sorry for the buzzing. I'm recording on my phone. I apologize for that. Some spam call. I think broadly speaking, I feel like the being able to explore this world that's been built more is great. And, we're going to get an Atreus game eventually. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I honestly think that the writing chops of those at Santa Monica Studio very well could, I think, do a frankly awesome job at fleshing out all the characters under this IP and keep it going for a little while longer. I'm attached to Atreus. I'm attached to Freya. And things of that nature. But let's be frank. Kratos' arc is done. Kratos' arc is over. Kratos has come full circle, accepted, his failings, and he's become the god of hope. A god of war, yes, but a god of hope in the new pantheon. And I think that, especially with all the therapy stuff that happened in the free DLC, I frankly am stoked to see this. And while I very much have seen the God of War games not as a player, but very much watching them from a Let's Play perspective, because listen, there's very few 40+ hour games that I can realistically play given the amount of I work, let alone two of them. So that's just what it had to be. All in all, I'm pretty, excited to see this. I know that the usual suspects are going to be bitching and moaning about it, but I don't care. I think, I've heard Faye, we've heard talk about how Faye was like such a great warrior and how she fought Kratos to a stalemate. So, I think we're going to get plenty of action and blood and grit, obviously. I'm excited to see, Faye's reaction, if she's able to see the reaction to Kratos's and Atreus' growth. I think it's going to be really, really cool to see. But, yep. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that has been... thank you for listening to this episode of High Media Headlines for today, June the 3rd. We appreciate you, your time, and your listenership. If you like this episode, feel free to join our Discord. Link in the description down below. Otherwise, thank you for listening to High Media TV. I have been your host, Evan from High Media TV, and I will see you guys next time.